Lacrosse is an extremely underserved sport. If you go on YouTube, every footwork and shooting video is from 2016, and every piece of advice just feels outdated. Back 5 years ago, if you didn't live in a hotbed lacrosse area, you were basically just screwed as a recruit. You couldn't find high quality coaching anywhere, and the internet had nothing to offer. That was my situation as a senior in high school when I set out to try and change that with this channel and this company. Hi, my name is Chris Travers, and I run all of the behind the scenes stuff with GLE, and in this video, I want to tell you about what GLE is if you don't know it, and I want to tell you about my story. I've never really talked about myself on this channel after running it for a couple years, so I want to give you guys a little bit of a background. So I grew up in San Francisco, and San Francisco is great for a lot of reasons, but it's not great for lacrosse for the most part. It's not bad, but it's not great. If you guys are in the recruiting process, you probably know that you have to be on the East Coast playing if you want to get recruited. So as a recruit out here, it was hard. I had to fly out to the East Coast a lot, and I kind of joined the scene late. I played youth lacrosse my entire life, so it wasn't like I started playing lacrosse late, but I started playing travel lacrosse my sophomore year of high school, so maybe a little bit later than other people. And sophomore year was the first time I ever got to play on the East Coast, so I was maybe a little bit behind the curve in that sense. But that didn't bother me as much. What bothered me was that it was hard to just get better in general, let alone get in front of eyes as recruits. But it was hard for me as like a non-hotbed lacrosse player to find good coaching and to know what drills I should be doing and to know how to train. Like, there wasn't that many amazing coaches around me. It was so hard to get good training. And in most other like hobbies or sports, isn't as much of an issue because you can go on YouTube, and on YouTube there's probably tutorials and there's really good resources. But for some reason with lacrosse, it doesn't exist. Like, no one is doing this. No one is giving really good lacrosse advice. There's some good channels, don't get me wrong, but especially on the defensive side of the ball, most of the stuff you see is from like 2015 or 2016, random sparsed out drills, and you have to kind of Frankenstein something together to try to make a training plan. And I vividly remember in high school, I was trying to balance out like when I should be lifting, when I should be training, what footwork drills I should be doing. And I worked so hard, but I wasn't getting that much better. I was doing the same ladder drills every single day, the same wall ball drills every single day, and they weren't really translating, like no matter how hard I worked. And I had this almost epiphany. I worked with this coach named BJ Groh. So BJ played at Marquette, and then he played for the Water Dogs in the PLL for I think 2 or 3 years. I think he played in the MLL too. Amazing player. I'm 5'10", BJ's 5'8". We're both defenders. We're both small. So that was the first connection, right? I always had this image in the back of my head, like, I'm a smaller guy, I can't play college lacrosse because I'm not above 6 foot, whatever. BJ immediately just smacked that limiting belief away from me. But more importantly, what BJ did is it was just head. Like, BJ's an athletic guy, yes, but the reason he played pro lacrosse, and the reason he played amazing lacrosse at Marquette was because he was the smartest player on the field. And I didn't process that meant so much, and I didn't understand that you could have a lacrosse IQ like that even existed. And within 3 or 4 sessions of working with him, I became a completely different player. Like, it was almost like I'd spent my entire life playing lacrosse. And I got better, obviously. My entire life playing lacrosse. And then within a 5-hour period of working with this guy, everything was flipped on its head. And I just changed as a player. I viewed the game completely differently. And that was just the power of seeing knowledge in lacrosse, seeing IQ in lacrosse. That combined with me scouring YouTube for information. I would watch those old lacrosse film room videos. I don't know if you guys remember those. It was the Tucker Durkin versus Lyle Thompson. I would watch those every single day to try to get better. But the thing was, no one was talking over them. No one was giving advice about the actual content. And I saw one video. It was a Chris Sabia, I think it was Chris Sabia film breakdown. And no one was even talking. It was image, or it was caption text over, and it had 5,000 views. And I saw that, and I was like, this bar is so low in the lacrosse world to make content, to make education, that I had no reason not to try it. And I think it was my senior year of high school, I really bought it, and I started making videos, and you guys loved them. And I'm so grateful that you guys bought into it, and it now gives me the opportunity to kind of do this as my summer job, as my full-time job. So that's why I started GLE. I was pissed off that there was no educational content in the lacrosse world at all. That was my senior year of high school, and by then I committed to Connecticut College. I didn't have any big D1 offers or anything like that. I knew I didn't want to go to a low-tier D1, but I wanted to play at a good academic D3 school. So I landed on Con because I wanted to play in the NESCAC, and Jim Nagel I thought was an amazing coach. So my first year at Con, I'm super grateful I was able to earn a starting spot and start every game my freshman year, and then every game my sophomore year. But during that time, two things happened. First, in the middle of my freshman season, I broke my foot, and I didn't realize I broke my foot, so I played the rest of the season on it, and at the end of it, I had to get surgery. That's where a lot of the mental side of the content that I talked to you guys about, the sports psychology bits, come from. That was during a time when I was trying to find ways to get ahead, to cope with an injury. So I tried to deliver a lot of that sports psychology, the mental side of the game to you guys. Now this year, I came into the season, I had a shorter off season because I couldn't train with the surgery. Had a really good sophomore campaign, but unfortunately, I am actually, I don't know if you can see that, I'm 2 days out of ACL surgery. So I tore my ACL playing against the Coast Guard Academy, which sucked. But I'm in another summer where, going into my junior year, where I can't train, I can't do anything. My knee hurts like hell right now. I literally got out of surgery yesterday. GLE is like everything I'm doing right now, and that's what I want to talk to you about now. Beyond like my experiences, that's my story. I play D3 lacrosse at Collegiate College. I have a torn ACL. It's about all you need to know. So most of my time will be spent with GLE. And this summer, I wanted to spend a lot of time doing demo drills like out in the field, because almost all the content on this YouTube is me doing film analysis, but it's not me doing that much. Like I've done a little bit recently of me doing drills, but that was the plan for this summer. I was going to give you guys, I was going to do a whole free defensive course, but all that's kind of out the window because I can't train. So a couple things you can expect over the next couple months and maybe the next couple of years from GLE. First of all, the goal is always going to be education. I might start showcasing myself in the videos a tiny bit more, but it's never going to be an entertainment channel. I want this to be an educational space for players to learn to play lacrosse. And in that, I think I've done a very good job of covering training and kind of like the mental side of things, but I've very little touched on recruiting. Part of that's because I went D3. Like I'm not a D1 player, so it feels a little weird for me to talk about recruiting. But I think if I can convey like the mistakes that I went through, all the things that I know now, and I've talked to so many D1 players, D1 coaches about recruiting at this point, that I think I have a pretty good perspective just to give you guys some basic advice on it, because I know how brutal the lacrosse recruiting process can be. It's super political, it's confusing, and you feel like you're never like actually in the loop and everyone else has the answers. It's the worst. So I think in the coming future, I'm going to give you guys some more advice on lacrosse recruiting. The next thing you're going to look out for is some clothing. Right now, we have the training plans, the blueprint, which I'm so happy you guys enjoy. I created the blueprint because it's something I wish I had in high school. Like I said earlier, the biggest thing I needed in high school was just a structured format, the right drills to do and information to do it, and that's kind of what the blueprint is. It's just something I wish I had. And as for the clothing, a lot of you guys have just been asking for it. I have zero design skills, so it's been very difficult for me. It's taken me a while. I hope you guys like it. I'm hoping to release them at the end of this month. Again, I've never done anything like this before. It's a completely foreign process for me, so bear with me. But it's going to be a limited drop just to make sure everything goes well. But expect clothing, hopefully, by the end of this month. And the last thing I want to do is, a lot of this channel is me spent dissecting the best players in college lacrosse and pro lacrosse. And now the channel's gotten a little bit bigger, I can actually reach out to these players and they're willing to talk about their film themselves. So rather than me speculating what they're thinking, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to talk to some of these guys, whether it's in a podcast form, a video form, and they'll be able to comment on what they're actually thinking in the moment, which I think will be a really cool process. But expect a lot of content out of me and GLE in the next couple months, because I can't move. I'm fresh torn ACL, so I got nothing to do besides this. So good for you guys, bad for me. But I'm really excited. I've never been more excited about the channel, the company. It gets me like juiced up, and you can expect a lot more from it. But I thought this was just a good video to get through. I've never really talked about myself in this channel before, and I never really want this channel to be about me. But I think having a little bit of a backstory is something just good to have. I think it's like a lot of people ask where I go to college or who I am. So I hope this was informational, and I hope like if you're in a similar spot, being in like growing up in a non-hotbed area, like you there is hope. Like you can do well. My main goal is to help people like me when I was in high school. If that makes sense. So if you're in a non-hotbed lacrosse area, or even if you're in a hotbed lacrosse area, I want to provide you with the best quality lacrosse education I possibly can, and that's about it. So thank you guys for watching. Get the GLE Blueprint. It helps me out a lot. So thanks. Also, in the comments, let me know what kind of videos you want to see from me, whether you like kind of this style of me talking more. Obviously, I'll keep doing the film breakdowns, but I love hearing you guys' recommendations. Obviously, I can't do many demo drills with my ACL this summer, but let me know what you guys want to see. I try to respond to all of you guys. Send me emails, DM me on Instagram. I'll try and respond to everything.